Why they don't show you the master bedroom that they claim they live in? Why they don't show you their bed? Why they don't show you the TV they have in their house? Why do they hide their personal life away? But they go live in hotel rooms. They go live in Airbnbs. They go live on resorts, pools. They'll show all those things, but they will not show you their personal living situations.
Welcome to the Don't Let That Go Over Your Head podcast, starring Q the Boss.
Yo, 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 yo. Welcome back to another episode of Don't Let That Go Over Your Head podcast. They call me Q the Boss. And today we have a very special topic. You know, I'm actually excited because we're calling out the fraudulents. We're calling out the pretenders. Today is the year of the pretender. It's a lot of it, man. There's a lot of cap going on, right? And this is the dilemma that we have right now with so many people opposing to be gurus, right? Not only gurus, financial influencers and all of these things they're telling people. And this is the thing. I'm going to tell y'all something before I even get into this. Yesterday, I was talking to a young guy. He said to me, Q, the reason why your generation had it easier than my generation is because of the fact that y'all were less exposed to so many different opinions. And I said, elaborate on that. He said, so many young people don't know what's wrong or right because every time you turn around, there's social media, there's Instagram, there's TikTok. There's so many different platforms that are teaching their minds to think the opposites of what the households are telling them. So I said, I respect that, and he's honestly right. When you look at it, right, from a total standpoint, they do have access to more people's opinions. I truly believe that one of the dilemmas that we have is having too much access to people. You know, we have access to people's lives extremely too much. And then sometimes we overly value their lives and not seeing what we're not doing. So now you have people right now who are basically not giving themselves their flowers because they're so caught up in what other people are doing. You can't see what you're not doing if you're too busy watching what others are doing. You got to learn and see what you're not doing, ultimately giving yourself a leg up because of the fact that you're willing to do what you need to do. It is common sense in life that a person that is not doing what they should be doing, they're going to be ultimately overvaluing what other people are doing. Hence why you're not getting anywhere. Another person's work is not going to get you to the level of where you want to be. It's your work, right? You got to make the decisions. Even as an investment standpoint, you had to invest in something, right? You had to put your money in something for something to give you a return. But today, we're talking about the year of the pretenders. We calling y'all out today. Someone call in 516-246-5172. One more time, 516-246-5172. We talking about the year of the pretending. We're tired of it. I'm tired of the cap. I'm tired of the lying. I'm tired of people pretending to be in positions they're not. I'm going to say this on record. Just because you have an expensive vehicle only means that you have a liability that you're paying for. It doesn't mean you have or you're wealthy. And we need to learn this. Too many of us are so captivated by posing that we're not seeing that the same energy that you're putting into pretending, you could be becoming. But you're not becoming because you're spending too much energy on pretending. This is the year of the pretenders. Let's call out the pretenders, guys. Let's call them out. 516-246-5172. And the problem is when you talk to these people, they're so captivated. Look at this narrative. There are a lot of people on social media right now who don't have money, but they've created so much perception and people believe and they're buying into what they're saying that they will have money by the time they're done from the people that already didn't have money. So the people that don't have money are giving the people who don't, the person that's pretending as if he has money ultimately never getting you guys ahead, but getting him ahead. Because it's all cap, it's fake, smoke and mirrors. And that's what you see on social media, right? Social media has captivated so many minds with so much foolishness. There's an extreme level of disengagement between reality and illusion, right? It's the Matrix. We got the blue and the red pill. Let me ask you, Chris, what was the right pill? The reality pill was the blue or the red pill? The blue pill was the what? The reality? That was the false. And what pill was the right pill? which is red. So when you look at it, people are out here every day taking the blue pill. And the blue pill is giving you a false pretense of life, right? And the reality pill, which is the red pill, people won't take it. Because I'm going to tell you something about the mind. The mind can actually believe whatever you keep teaching it. The mind could believe the most craziest things if you keep falsifying the mentality. As long as you tell your mind something, your mind will believe it. And the sad part is, your mind will start believing everything you keep telling it, ultimately not allowing you to ever get anywhere in life. And then what happens is when you're not successful, you look for people to blame opposed to yourself. Because it is so much easier to blame the world. And that's what we are. It's a lot of cap going on around here. Right? It's disgusting. Call them out right now, guys. Let's tell a story, right? On somebody that you caught capping or someone you caught pretending, right? Show these things. There's so many programs out here telling you, I can show you how to get into real estate without money. It's not true, right? If a person creates something to sound too easy, chances are it's not real. I'm gonna tell you something. I created a group of people that we put our money together to do an investment. One of the guys called me recently and said, yo, when am I gonna see a return? I said, bro, you made payments. Now it's time for me to start making the payments make sense. It's a sacrifice. If you don't understand sacrificing, how do you build residual money without patience? If I told you I can do this overnight, then you should have knew it was fake. That's not reality. It takes time, right? Especially when you're doing flips. A flip can take you a whole year. A whole year. Think about it. 1 whole year to do one flip. That's how long it can take. Because now you're holding onto a property that hasn't sold yet. So now you're sitting back. Yeah, your projections can be skewed. We get the good scenarios and we get the bad scenarios. In most cases in investment, I always look at the bad scenarios, right? But when this bad scenario don't happen, I'm blessed, I'm happy. But in most cases, you got to be able to look at the bad scenario. What if it don't happen this way? When you can have that conversation, then you have better conversations with yourself. But again, we live in a world full of people pretending. And I'm so overly exposed to seeing it. And it's like it's forced down your mind. It's forced into your mind. Look at YouTube. As soon as you turn on YouTube, the first thing you hear is, hey, you, sitting over there with the phone and the Adidas hat, shaking your leg with the gray shirt, with the glasses. You want to get rich overnight? This is the YouTube that you got to watch now. It's like it's forced to you, right? And you don't want to hear it, but eventually you start believing it. We got our first caller. Let's see who we got calling today. Who it is? Caller?
Dominic.
Dominic, what's going on?
What's good?
How are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
Bless. So let me hear what you got to talk about the topic.
Yeah, good topic. Yeah, definitely. It's definitely a good one. It definitely feels like there's a lot of people that are like doing too much for clout nowadays. It's like nobody wants to be like. I'm a 70s baby, and we're like we basically came around a term keeping it real, which nobody really does anymore. Everything's for clout, likes, comments, views. Like, oh, let's see how many views this picture can get. Like when I post something, it's authentic. I'm not gonna post something and be like if I get likes or comments on it, fine. If not, that's not what I'm doing it for, though.
Yeah, you're right about that. That's the world now in a nutshell, right? Everyone is looking for attention, right? And that's the sad part about life.
Yeah.
You know, too many people looking for attention. You know, he said it right. You know, clout, likes, comments, that's pretty much what the social currency is at this point, right? When you get a lot of likes and comments, people overvalue it.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly why I like you, because you come real and you don't like. And if people view your stuff, fine. If they comment, fine. It's not, but they're not. It's not like they're going for that. Like let the love come natural. Like you don't gotta like bombard people with crap to get them to pay attention to you.
You know something funny? One of the guys said to me, I just did an interview with Antonio Tarver, right? And one of the guys, I actually got another celebrity coming on next week. And one of the guys said to me, do you create clickbait and I said, I'm not into that. I have generic and genuine conversations with people. I don't care about that. That's not for me, right? If it, I feel like, why are you trying to use someone's words to make them sound bad to get likes, comments, and
Yeah.
views. I'm not into that.
Exactly.
Because I wouldn't want no one to do that to me.
And I definitely touched that vibe with you too. That's exactly why Rocket's so heavy, because like you obviously gave a good first. I go for first impression. If I like the impression you give the first time I come across your stuff, I'm definitely rock with you. Like I'm based off of first impression. If I'm one of those people that's like the first time I meet them, it's like, okay, this is the kind of person that's got the kind of core values and things that I actually admire and like, then I'm gonna rock with you. And my thing with me, it's like loyalty and realness overall. If I'm with you, I'm either all or nothing. That's just how I've always been. Guys,
let's give Dominic a round of applause, man. I appreciate Dom so much, man. You know, this guy shows a lot of love to the podcast, man. You know, he's religious, man. And Dom, I love you and I appreciate you. You know, basically, you know, we live in a world now where that's become social currency. Finances is taking the backseat. People overvalue social media more than their actual living situations, right? Because why? As long as social media believes that I'm successful, then therefore I'm successful, even when I'm living bad. The sad part about pretending is you start believing that you really are, and you're not. You know, it's sad that a person will pose an Airbnb more than they care about their living situation. So you'll rent a space and show off with it more than you're willing to do at your personal living situation. I find that to be disheartening. There's a lady the other day, she took a $5,000 vacation. I told her, this is what she got mad at me for, because I said, why don't you buy a new bed? You about to spend $5,000 on a vacation. Why don't you buy yourself a new bed? You always crying about how your back and your body's hurting. Maybe it's time for a new mattress. She goes, no, I need this trip. This trip would be everything to me. I said, so therefore, this is why you're still in this situation. We got to learn priorities, guys. I don't think a lot of people really know priorities. Would you agree? I think most people, let's start a poll. Anybody on my social media right now, do you believe that the world knows priorities? I think we prioritize the wrong things. Is it me, or are you seeing the same thing I'm seeing? My guys in the studio, what do you say, Dre? People, they priorities are good or bad? Dre said messed up. What do you say, Chris? My Chris is terrible. What do you say, Carlton? Really bad. What do you say, Kent? You know, and everyone is saying the same thing. I think, and my guy on live right now, Victor said it's bad. I agree 100%. I feel like the world is so caught up in the wrong things, right? And when you start overly indulging on the wrong things, you start creating a false mentality. Like a lot of people have a bad mentality. So your mentality comes from the results. Your results are a reflection of your mentality. You will never have great results if you don't have a great mentality, right? You got to be able to look at it like this. You know what? I wanted sunshine today, but guess what? It's raining, but I'm gonna enjoy the rain because at the end of the day, I'm alive. You got to be able to see the goodness in everything. Those are the most successful people, when they still find good in everything bad. You got to say, this is a lesson I learned from this. Okay, I went through a terrible breakup, but it was worth it because now I learned what not to look for. When you're able to say those things, you're able to fix yourself. But you can't fix yourself if you can't see that you're constantly making the same poor decisions. It's who you following. It's the comments and the likes that you have. You'd rather engage in a conversation that's arguing about sports opposed to a conversation that's arguing about economics. This is the disbelief. This is the problem. You have big grown-ups who are still arguing about sports more than they're actually arguing about how to learn how to invest and put themselves in a better position. Your priorities. This is what you care for. So you're getting the results of what you believe is reality. Every human and every woman is a reflection of their thinking. The way you think is the way you behave. The way you behave, it gives you the reflection of your results. Notice, a person thought about robbing a store, went into the store, robbed the store, and ultimately went to jail. The thought was robbing the store. The action was robbing the store. The results is going to jail. That's how human minds operate. The thought, the action, the results. Successful people think, I got to figure out how to save my money so I can invest my money. So the thought was how to save. The action was working hard and saving. The results of working hard and saving is having money. It works the same way. How come we could always find the negative things? We can understand it, but we can't find the good things. Watch the narrative. If me and you was having a physical altercation and we jumped you, we understand that aspect. We're gonna hurt you, right? But we can't understand this aspect when it comes to us teaming up to do bigger and greater things. It's a sick mentality. It's this social media thing. I hate to say it. And I love social media because it's a gift, but it's also a curse. Having access and being able to talk to certain people that are in different worlds and different platforms. Like you wouldn't have access to a person in Belgium if it wasn't for social media, unless you're from Belgium. If you're not from Germany, you wouldn't have access to fans in Germany. Social media. So it's a gift, but it's also a curse. People say to me every time you come on this podcast, why you talk so positive? I said, because I don't see the point in pushing out negativity. I don't want to inherit, right, in the will of life, negativity because I keep pushing out negativity. I don't want it. Noticing that you push out so much negativity, therefore you are the results of negativity. Negative people always pushing out negative things. This is why they have negative results. Right? I tell people all the time, there is a story that I always admired since I was a child, right? It is the Three Little Pigs. Look at it. As simple of a read this book is, people still can't understand this book in real life, right? The Three Little Pigs' whole concept is working hard, working to a medium, and working like being lazy, right? It shows the results of all three characters. The first character built his house out of straw, right? And when he built his house out of straw, he wanted to get back to doing what he wanted to do. So ultimately, he didn't build a strong foundation, right? So when the wolf came, eventually he did what? He blew the house down. Then you take the second pig, who decided to build the house out of sticks. Yes, it took the wolf a little bit more work, but it still ultimately blew the house down. The third pig, who thought long term, said it's going to be way more work, but this is going to last way more longer. He built his house out of bricks. And ultimately, the third house lasted because of the fact that he was able to see long term. When a person can't see that, they need to be the third little pig, but most people want to be the first little pig or even the second. Don't be mad that your houses are being blown down when you're the one that's keep making the poor decisions. Either you're going to build a strong foundation or you're going to build a weak foundation. But understand, when them storms come, you're going to fall down easy because of the fact that you've never built a strong foundation. And it's not just a house we're talking about. We're talking about a mentality. You have to have a strong foundation psychologically. You got to be grounded. There are a lot of people that aren't grounded. They're confused by the media. The media creates perception, right? And I don't want to say anything bad, but I'm going to say this, right? One of the main reasons why I hate watching the news is the fact that every time I turn on the news, it's showing a black man killing a black man, right? And I'm going to say what it is. I've noticed that this is overly exploited, right? And they underexploit. And I'm not going to say what color. Y'all going to be able to answer it yourself. When there's mass murdering, they underexpose that, but they overly exploit black on black crime. If you take this kid who's in a black neighborhood, chances are he's more prone to hurt someone black because he's in a black neighborhood. When you have people who are oppressed psychologically, who are oppressed economically, who are oppressed mentally, right, who are oppressed with mass incarceration, you have a lot of people who are building and dealing with traumas and mental illness. But we don't talk about it. We act like it doesn't exist, right? Social media makes everyone look like they have their whole lives together. But in reality, it's not true. But look at the narrative. You've created I'm going to be honest with you. Black men, we talk very aggressive, right? But I'm going to be honest with you, the most aggressive people I've ever met wasn't black men. I don't want to say what it is. The most aggressive people I've ever met is black women. They're very aggressive. But if you say that on social media, people are going to hate you, right? And it's just the truth. In a lot of cases, I've noticed that most men, when they talk with strength, is because they have to prove their masculinity to people that's trying to emasculate them. This is why. We live in a world where they're trying to use social media to emasculate a lot of men, right? And when you talk about it as a strong man, you know what they're gonna say? I have masculine toxicity. I'm so caught up in my alpha manism. Like, come on. We gotta get out of this whole feeling. Let me say this again. A lot of times, they talk about black men for being overly aggressive. But I'm gonna be honest with you. In my existence, the number one person I've ever met that's the most aggressive is a black woman. Ladies, we gotta get out our feelings. We gotta learn how to have conversations with each other too. But if I say this, he's the enemy. I'm gonna tell you something. I had a conversation with a couple. As you guys know, I do a lot of one-on-one conferences with people, right? I do a consultation thing, right? So long story short, the lady, the whole time she's on talking to this guy, she's talking to him like he's her child and wondering why he's not hearing her because this is a grown man. And we need to have these conversations. It's disgusting. Society has created so much false narratives to the point that we're losing the culture because of the fact that we're joining and holding the torches and not burning the wrong houses down. Y'all burning down the wrong houses. Ladies, men are not your enemies. Men, ladies are not your enemies. But who's creating this narrative? Who's creating this narrative? Every time you turn around, it's always the men against the women. Who's creating this narrative? Social media. They love to create the battle of the sexes. They love to create the pretending that there's a war going on amongst men and women. I'm gonna tell you something. Men, you're gonna hate me for this, and I don't care. If you see a woman as an enemy, right? When you have all these bills and all these responsibilities of being a man, then my brother, you are clearly not a man. I got some big fish to fry, sisters, and I don't see you as my enemy, right? Because the society tells me the standard of being a man is I have to do all of these things. You think I'm focused on arguing and fighting with a woman? I don't have time for it. And that's the reality. Ladies, I don't care who's gonna get mad at this, right? I need you to hear this. And this is a whole reality, right? Today, in today's standards, 70% of the men that's incarcerated come from single mothers, right? 70% of the mothers, 70% of the guys that's incarcerated come from single mothers, right? So here's the pretending. So many women make statements like this: I don't need a man. Ladies, and I'm gonna say this before we get back to this topic. It is so selfish of someone to say that they love their child, but yet and still don't believe that you need two parents to raise it. Why wouldn't you say as a mother and as a father, you want to give your child all the tools they need in life? That child needs their father and that child needs his mother. If you and that mother could not work out, it doesn't matter. The pretending is, ladies, it's not healthy to raise a child by itself. That's pretending. Because the reality, statistics don't say that. Statistics say that more healthy children come from two-parent homes. It's not my opinion. Don't get me wrong. There will be somebody on here say, well, I grew up in a two-parent home, and yeah, you probably was, I don't know, you could have had a junkie for a dad. Your dad could have been a drug addict. I don't know. It happens. But the reality of all things, in most cases, you have more success when two parents are proactive in a child's life. Because there are a lot of men running around here today insecure because of the fact that their dads wasn't there. So they pretend and pose as men before they're ready to be men. But it's the pretending that's going on right now that we need to see. There are a lot of people who are pretending to be something they're not. Look at it. You can take a person right now who is broke, and they know they broke, but they do everything on social media to look like they got so much money. There's a word that I like to talk about, and I genuinely believe the reason why so many people are like that is because they're insecure. I believe that we're in a very insecure world. Look at the narrative. I dress a certain way because people will perceive me to be successful. That don't sound like insecurity to you? I only date certain women who are weaker than me because I want to feel strong. That don't sound like insecurity to you? I only want a man that makes a lot of money because of the fact that you don't make a lot of money and a man is supposed to make a lot of money, only accommodating a lifestyle that you couldn't create for yourself as a grown woman. That don't sound like insecurity to you? Everything is so insecure. If I live in the projects, if I drive a Range Rover, I'm not in the projects anymore. That don't sound like insecurity to you? The world is full of insecurities. This is why we have so much pretending going on today in society. So many people are capping. It's all falsified documents. People pretend because they feel like, I'm going to fake it till I make it. Let me break down the faking it till you make it thing. Faking it till you making it is faking it for an opportunity, not faking it to act like you have money. Why would someone, right? What opportunity comes if you spending all your money on looking like you got money? I'm going to wait. What opportunity comes, right? Here's a narrative. If I'm a plumber and I'm not that good, a person come along looking for plumbers, I act like I know how to be a better plumber than I actually know, trying to buy myself time to learn. So the faking it was acting like I knew how to be a better plumber than I actually am to get an opportunity. You fake it till you make it for an opportunity. But most people are faking it till they make it for no reason. Nothing is coming out of it, right? It's really what it is. It's the year of insecurities. It's the cap. Someone call in right now, 516-246-5172. One more time, 516-246-5172. Someone call in and talk about this. It's a lot of capping going on. And I'm over it. And I'm only over it because so many people are losing this battle. Because so many people aren't getting to levels that they can get to because of the pretending. You have a person who genuinely want to help people who is looked at as he could be doing the wrong thing because of somebody else is doing. And this is the world we live in. You pay for others' decisions. I always tell men, be conscious of everything you do because I'm a man too. And they hold me to the same standards as your loser self do. If you out here, men, doing loser stuff, they're going to hold me to the same accountability as you. And vice versa. I hate the fact that the women that's out here working hard, that's looking for a man just to be with and want to build a house with, is getting looked at as like the gold diggers that's out here. I hate the men that's out here looking for good women, keep falling and running into the women that's just looking for somebody to take care and fund their lifestyle. I'm going to tell you something. A lot of times the woman that call you broke is the woman that wants you to pay for their lifestyle. That's why she's calling you broke, because you can't afford to funnel her lifestyle. So who's pretending? She's pretending as if she's more successful than what she is based on somebody else's earning. She's the greatest pretender in life. Think about the narrative. You don't have anything, so you're going to get mad at the fact that the man cannot provide the lifestyle that you want. And the sad part about it is, you can't provide the lifestyle for yourself you want. But you want someone else to do it. Is that not insecurity? We live in a very weird world when you really listen to most of these conversations. I listen to how some people talk. They ask for things that they can't bring to the table, right? They ask for things they never brought. And we need to learn how to understand what we're doing right now in the conversations we're having. Too many of us are so captivated by the cap, right? We pretend, we pose, we act, right? And the actor will ultimately not know when to come out of his role. There was an actor, I think his name was Heath Ledger. He played Joker. He bought into his character so much that he started believing that he was real Joker in real life. That's how dangerous the mind is. And someone will look at it and laugh. Ultimately, it killed him, right? Because he bought into this character. He started believing he was really the Joker. And it's a sad story. This is the world we live in. The more you tell yourself the lies and the pretending and the posing, how could you ever be successful when you think you're already successful? Why would you work hard when you already think you arrived? Come on, it's the pretending, it's the cap. We got to stop capping. In order to fix anything in life, you have to acknowledge and understand what's wrong with it. If your relationship is unhealthy, it's because of the fact that you're not willing to tell yourself the truth. You got to stop looking at so many people's lives on social media because it's not real. If you could be a fly on the wall in most people's homes, you will see that you may not have it as bad as you think you do. But you think you got it so bad because you're so caught up in staring at other people's lives. My life is so hard. Is it? Is your life really that hard? Are you not strong enough to embrace the challenge? So you can ask yourself one or two things. You could say, no, I'm not strong enough to embrace the challenge. Or you could say this, my life is hard because of the fact that I need to find an excuse to accommodate my insecurities. We're in a world right now where we're looking for excuses to accommodate our insecurities. I'm going to look for something that's going to make me feel better. I'm going to go on social media. I'm going to dress up and play Halloween and act like I got my whole life together. But then you start believing it. And what happens when you start believing it? You never get your life together. Ask yourself why. Because you already believe you arrived. It's like going on a trip and you believe you already drove to your destination, right? You're already at your destination psychologically. You made reservations to get to a certain level because you allowed yourself to believe that this was the destination. I won. I won the race. And you're going to keep doing that as long as you keep telling yourself the false lies, the narratives that's being pushed on social media. Ladies and gentlemen, someone's going to get mad at this, but I don't care. Reality. And ladies, I want you to hear this very well. And I don't want y'all to take this personal. I just want you to hear this. We talk about the six-figure earning guys, right? High-value men. Why would a man work this hard to accommodate this much to ultimately just submit and give you everything because of the fact that you feel that's what a man is supposed to do? Why would a man do that? When you listen to these people telling you these false narratives on social media, y'all fall for it. Y'all eat the cheese. Y'all drink the Kool-Aid. And y'all believe it. They tell you that a man is only measured how good he is based on how much he's willing to do for you. And that's wrong. And here's a narrative. People push this narrative all the time, ultimately having you believe that you're more than what you are because of the fact that you're looking for an accommodation to what you believe. The more you tell somebody something, the more they start believing it. Social media is the most falsified world that I've ever seen in my life. And a lot of people are going for it. And this is the reason. Why is this going on so long? Why is this dilemma so prominent? Why are so many people so hypersensitive to truth? Social media is going to continue to affect minds as long as you keep believing the foolishness, right? As long as a person can pretend to be something they're not, you're going to believe it. And that's dangerous. That is so dangerous. Rather than living in your reality, you'll create a false reality, ultimately making your mind believe that your reality is actually better than what it actually is. Smoke and mirrors. Smoke and mirrors. It's what it is. I got cursed out the other day by a young guy because I told him the only reason why you live in a great town because your parents. He got mad at me. And I said, is it the truth or is it not? He said, what do you mean? I said, could you afford that living situation if your dad died today? He stared at me. And I said, clearly no. So that means you would not live there if your dad wasn't alive. But if you tell somebody this, you're the enemy. It's pretending. You have to know how to live in your reality, right? And when you can't live in reality, you've created a false reality. There are tons of things that people are doing today that's giving them a false reality. But if you say this, you're the enemy. Expensive clothes, still broke, false reality, right? Constantly believing that some men, and I hate to say this, truth be told, believe that the more women they put around them, the more they feel like they're the man. You're not the man because you can keep manipulating women and telling them what they want to hear to get sex. That is not the man. You're the man when you raise a family and put your family in a better position, ultimately raising some great children. And you're a great man. I got a guy in the studio right now named Carlton, raised a great family. 3 college, it's the last one on the way, 3 college graduates. I think he did really well. Been married for a very long time. I think he can say that's a man. Family's in a great home, great situation. That's a man. How are we measuring manhood based on how many women you can get intimate with? That's what social media does. It gives us so much false narratives. I don't want to call out no influencers and nobody names. There's a guy, very wealthy guy. He talks this super alpha like crap. And I listen to him. I understand because he is in an economical realm where he can talk like that. And here's the problem. You have a guy who is not nowhere near his level believing he could try the same thing. Let me say that one more time. You have a guy who's listening to these influencers. This guy is so prominent financially, the influencer. He's really rich, right? And the person that's not at his level believes he can behave the same way. It's like the guy who smokes weed every day thinking he's Snoop Dogg. Snoop Dogg is worth like $250 million. You ain't even worth $250,000. And you trying to smoke to the magnitude of Snoop? That sounds crazy. But if you say it, you are the enemy. So let's pretend like this doesn't exist. For now on, guys, go spend all your money and you're going to be rich. Let's create this false narratives. Let's add on to the narrative. You waste all your money, you're going to be rich. You smoke weed every day, you're going to be rich. Let's lie. If I get on this podcast and do that, people will respect me so much more. But you want to hear the problem is? If I get on this podcast and do that, I wouldn't respect myself. Because honestly, I'm not going to lie. It is not true. The person that has poor financial habits will always be broke. This is the true narrative. The people that are traveling the world, unless they're flight attendants or pilots, chances are they don't have a lot of money. Their money is being spent on vacations. But you believe that you're doing worse than them. The sad part, there is somebody right now on this podcast that believe that they're doing worse than they're actually doing when the person that you believe is doing well, they don't live like you. I always ask this question, and I'm asking it again today. Why don't they go live in their living situations? Why they don't show you the master bedroom that they claim they live in? Why they don't show you their bed? Why they don't show you the TV they have in their house? Why do they hide their personal life away? But they go live in hotel rooms. They go live in Airbnbs. They go live on resorts, pools. They'll show all those things, but they will not show you their personal living situations. Because I believe that at least 90% of influencers are cap. Guys, on my live right now, how many people out of 10, right, do you believe are telling the truth on social media? 1 being the lowest, 10 being the high. 1 through 10, what do you think is the percentage of people lying? 10 meaning all of them, 1 being low. What do you guys think? I'm looking at my live right now. I'm going to go around the studio. What do you think, Kenzie? 1 through 10. 10 being the high, meaning if it's 10, that's everybody. 1 being the low. How many do you think is lying about their personal lives? 7. What do you think, Carlton? At least 6. What do you got? 7. What you got? I'm going with 8. What you got? 8. I'm going with 8. I think it's a lot. You know why? Somebody said 9. Carlos said 3. 2 Fam said 8 to 10. Adrian said 9. Mike said 9. You know, I personally believe it's like 9. It's a lot. I think it's like 8 or 9, 80, 90%. Because you know why? And I'm going to say this. Culturally, as a black man, we've learned how to not look like we're down even when we're down. It's called the art of the illusion, right? And I learned this as a kid. You're not supposed to let people to see you doing bad even when you're doing bad. What happens is we learn this defense mechanism as children, ultimately still doing it as adults, still using it as a deflection. But what happens is you get so used to pretending that you don't even notice that you're pretending. Listen to this narrative, right? But everything is fake. I agree. There are tons of people running around here with fake clothes, fake everything on. But you get so caught up in them, right? People say to me all the time, like, why do you have such a humble spirit? Because of the fact that I know who I am. I don't have to act like something I'm not because I know who I am. And the reason why I'm proud of who I am, because it took me a long time to become who I am and find myself and create the man I see and I want to see in the mirror. Some people look in the mirror and they don't like what they see. but they can put it on social media and make it look like they like what they see. Because again, it's all false. No one wakes up at their best every single day. It's not reality. We're talking about wigs, we're talking about weaves, we're talking about eyelashes, we're talking about makeup, we're talking about men with the toupees, we're talking about all of this stuff. We're all human. No one is perfectly perfect. There's no such thing, right? The problem is most of us won't work on what we're insecure about. We'll just try to hide the insecurity by putting something over it like makeup, right? Brother, you're thinning on your hairline. It's very normal for a lot of men to be thinning. It is not normal for you to lie and pretend that it's not the reality. It's okay. But if you love who you see in the mirror, you won't care because your hair won't make or break you. It's your confidence, it's your spirit. I have never heard someone say to me, I like him because he has great hair. You ever heard that before, Chris? I've heard them say they like him because he had great spirit. He was a great person. Your hair is not going to be your legacy, right? We got to learn that conversations need to sway and change. We need to be able to start telling the truth. Social media has made so many people so hypersensitive to things they know are even true. They're so sensitive. But again, if you say these things to them, they're going to be so mad. It's insecurity. We live in a very insecure world. And I'm speaking from my experience. I was very insecure. I did most things because I wanted people to perceive me as a tougher guy because of the fact that they wouldn't bother a tough guy. So I could be struggling at home psychologically, miserable. But again, I'll take my anger out on other people to make me feel better about me. That was me in a nutshell, right? And that's became my character to the point where I didn't realize I was doing it all the time, right? And I did it over and over and over, ultimately hiding my insecurities. I want somebody on my live today to tell me an insecurity they have. I'll tell you one with me right now. And the one insecurity that I'm working on, right, is learning to stop caring about what people think. That's one of my insecurities. And now I'm starting to not care anymore. I have people who get on my social media and write some of the most craziest things. But you know why I laugh? Because you don't know me. And you don't know me. You know me by a 30-second clip. Right? To summarize somebody by a 30-second clip is crazy. When I'm the type of guy that's willing to give the shirt off my back, that's really me. Right? But most people will never get to know you because they automatically summarize who you are. I hate to say this. Anytime I say anything bad about women, and it's about relationships, always the single woman always have something bad to say. And sisters, you're going to remain single until you learn how to humble yourselves. Humble yourselves. Your six-figure earning don't mean anything to a man that has his life together. The men that you're pursuing and chasing, that you keep bragging about getting, they don't see the value because you're bragging about the same things men brag about. Men brag about having money, right? Stay with me. Men brag about having money. I need this. Men, I want to bring this back to you again, right? Men and women in today brag about the same things and wonder why women are getting so much results. Most men that brag about how much they have, right? Chances are they're going to have a woman who's going to want to live off of what they have. So if you have a woman constantly bragging about what she has, chances are she's going to get a man who's going to want to live off of what she has. You're pushing out the same bait, sisters. You know what you say? I got my PhD, I got my own home, I got my own car. And why do you think you're getting the same results as a lot of the men who put out the same bait? You're getting people that's codependent on you because of the fact that you basically told them, I can take care of you. This is the great pretending, the year of the pretending. Let's pretend. You know, someone call in right now, 516-246-5172. One more time, 516-246-5172. If you listen to my topics, I'm not pro-man, I'm not pro-woman. I'm pro-right and what's wrong and right. If you ask me, I'm going to tell the truth. And if a guy feel away, I don't care. If a woman feel away, I don't care. But I'm not on this podcast to hurt women. I'm not on this podcast to hurt men. I am on this podcast to raise awareness. I will tell the truth. The whole truth and but to help me God. Caller, what's going on, caller? Caller. Whoever was that, call right back. Someone calling right now, 516-246-5172. 516-246-5172. Listen. Caller, what's going on, caller? Yeah, the caller's having problems. Whoever that is, you can call right back. But again, the phone is having problems. But guys, we must understand that in order to create this person that we want to see in our reality, we got to learn how to live in reality. You will never create your greatest self by living in a false reality. If you're using things to escape reality, you'll never be great, right? It's just call it what it is. We got to learn how to cope with our problems and stop running from our problems by using substances, right? We got to learn how to stop doing that. Caller, what's going on, caller? Caller.
Hi. Hi.
Turn me down.
We gotta learn how to cope with problems and stop running from our
Okay, I'm sorry.
What's going on, caller?
Hello?
How you doing?
Hey, I just wanted to make some I'm listening to the podcast and I really like what y'all got going on.
I appreciate it.
I think that I just wanted to come in on some things like, because women, for me, like, I'm a single parent.
Mm-hmm.
I've been a single parent for the last 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
And dating is really, really hard because it's like different circumstances for different people.
Agreed.
What's his name?
Who's that?
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we hear everything you're saying.
Okay. So, yeah, I have 2 sons.
Okay.
And their father died in a not-so-good situation and was living a not-so-good type of life, you know.
I'm sorry to hear that.
It started after the kids were born,
Okay.
you know. So, for the last 7 years, I've been dating, but, like, outside the household. But for the most part, I just felt like we needed time to heal over everything.
Agreed.
So I was kind of afraid to bring a man in, even though I know that it's best to raise kids with two parents.
Yes.
But how do I go about that without?
Now, you want me to be honest with you?
I do. That's what I'm calling.
Even if you bring in a guy, right? Those children have to be willing to embrace that man as a father figure. There's nothing you can do.
Right.
If they're not into that, they're not into it. There's some children that just will never accept a stepfather or a stepmother, no matter what. That's just them, right? But the one thing you want to do is making sure that they're giving them an example of how a man behaves and how a man exists and how a man operates, right? Because by seeing a man will understand how to be a man, right? So that's the one thing you can do. But to say that this man can be a father figure, that's not necessarily not always gonna happen. It can happen, but it don't always happen, right? He has to give them something to see as a fatherly figure, and that they have to be willing to embrace that fatherly figure because it don't always happen like that. I know guys who's been dating people's mothers since they was 5 and 6 in their 30s, and that they never saw that man as a stepfather. He's the mom's husband, but they don't see it that way, right? It's because of them.
Right.
But that's them and their inner loyalty to their father, right? Some of them just not gonna do it. It's just what it is. But again, bringing a good example around them is a proto, right? That's the one thing you should be looking at. Like, okay, the person I'm bringing around, it's not about a father figure. It's more like an example of what a man looks like, so my sons can understand what a man is, right? That's what it more so is. That's the one thing you can gravitate towards more.
Yeah, because like I hear a lot of women saying that they don't need a man, and for me, I do.
But you know most
because
women,
I can see.
Most women that say that, that's a defense. That's a defense mechanism. Being honest, either A, the woman is extremely, extremely, extremely attractive, or B, a woman is extremely, extremely single. Most people that say that, they either have a situation where they're already in a relationship, so they talk like that. B, they are extremely attractive, so they can get a man whenever they want. Or C, they're extremely single. So it's usually those 3 factors when a person talks like that. She's been in a relationship so long that she's undervaluing how lucky she truly is. Then you have the C, which is the one that's just mad single, so they're just mad at the world, so they just talk like that.
Yes.
You know, would you agree with that?
Yes, I totally agree.
All right, that's just the narrative. It's like, I think most people learn how to deflect their defense with defense mechanisms, right? We learn how to block out truth because we don't want to be hurt. So in order for us to block, we create narratives. And now you have someone on social media who may have a big platform talking about, I don't need a man. Meanwhile, she's miserable, single, and in her mind, she probably only dating some type of guy. Sometimes people don't look at it that they're very attracted to the same kind of people. That's why they keep getting the same kind of results. And that's why a lot of people fail.
That's true. I thought for the 7 years that I was, taking time for us to heal it, I thought I was doing the right thing. But now that my kids are older, I realize I did it wrong. And I know that they are hurting because they don't have that.
Can I ask you a question?
You know what I'm saying?
Have you sat them down and had this conversation?
Yeah, several times, but it's they're 17 and 20, and it's too far. It's like I can't reach them.
But you know what it is? When they become
Like we have a real big disconnect going on right now.
when they become parents, they'll
I don't
understand you more.
know how to fix it.
When they become parents themselves, they'll understand you a lot more. Right? Sometimes I genuinely believe that some children learn from the actual experience part of it, right? They have to go through it. And some humans, period, have to learn by going through certain factors. So yet and still you may have all the good intent. They have to learn and understand it for themselves. So sometimes it's not you anymore because you close the chapter by saying it and acknowledging that you were wrong. But you can't beat yourself up either, too, because you have to move on and live your life also. You've acknowledged it, right? And you're doing better now. So right there, that's the pros right there. I'm doing better. I acknowledged it to you, right? But again, you can't fault yourself
Right.
if you didn't know better. Knowing better and doing better is two different things. If you don't know no better, how can you do better? Right?
Right. That's
So
true.
now you know
Right.
better, now you do better. So you hold yourself accountable to what you know today.
Thank you.
No problem, my sister. I appreciate you.
Okay.
So guys,
Um,
you see, right? When we talk about these things, this is the dope topics that we have. I love the conversation me and her just had. Is reality is understanding that sometimes we hold ourselves accountable to things that we don't know. And the reality is you learn as with experience. But how could you be a great parent when you had to learn how to be a parent while becoming a parent? You learn how to be a parent by being a parent. So sometimes we get held to certain standards about being a bad mother or father, but in reality, you can't be unless you learn. I hate to say this, with every child you have to learn how to be a parent to that child. Every child is different. Every child is different. This one might be into the sports. This one might be into the opera, and this one might be into animation. These are three different people that came from the three same wombs, from the same parents. They're three different people. But the problem is, as a parent, you cannot hold each child to the same standards. Each child is different. Each one has their own gifts. Each one has their own ways, their own beliefs, right? And that's the reality. We got to accept it. There are a lot of parents right now, and I want you guys to know that you're forgiven. And I truly believe that God forgives because God knows. He knows who genuinely just was a horrible parent intently. And he knows who was a horrible parent by a lack of experience. He knows the difference. And we got to acknowledge that's what it is. God knows when you genuinely made a mistake, right? And my sister that was just on my live, don't blame yourself too bad and beat yourself up to the point where certain things are not going right. Because sometimes we out here breaking generational traumas, not just generational curse. We're breaking out generational traumas. There are a lot of people out here breaking traumas, right? And we got to learn, in order to break our traumas, we can't find things to trauma bond with. We look for people to bond with based on our traumas. This is this whole social media world, where it's a bunch of people finessing the world. That's what you see. It's a lot of finessing, a lot of lying. Let me get another caller, 516. Miss E, you can call in right now, Miss E. Call in right now, 516-246-5172. I love when my people got something to say, but I want to hear some of you guys' voices too. I think you guys come up, y'all actually push this podcast. I watch your comments, and you guys be on point. But I want these people to hear your voice. 516-246-5172. We must learn that we got to weed out these pretenders. It's too much of it going on. So what happens is the person that's genuinely trying to help people, they always get in the back because we don't know who's lying. It's like, you ever met an animal that's been like traumatized, it was hit, beat, and then when a new owner get it, it's like blocking out the love because they don't know how to receive it. I genuinely believe that a lot of men and a lot of women don't know how to receive love. Genuinely. I think a lot of people think their idea of love is very toxic. Their idea of love is fighting. As long as I stand here every day and fight with you, that's love. We must learn the difference. Let me say that again. I genuinely believe that a lot of people believe that love is toxic. They genuinely believe that as long as I'm standing here fighting with you every day, that's love. And that's not love, right? Caller, what's going on, caller?
Hey, it's Missy.
How you doing? So I want to hear what you got to
I'm
say about
good.
this topic. What you got to say about it? I keep seeing you. What you got to say about this topic?
Yeah, I have a whole lot. I mean, I just feel like I agree with you in the fakeness and how what everybody on social media is trying to perceive as, but everybody's missing the focus on life in general. Period.
Yes,
And when you live in your purpose and you start doing the things that you're called to do, everything else is going to fall in line. Everybody out here looking for love. Everybody out here trying to find happiness. Everybody out here trying to, make it through life in general.
agreed.
But, and the whole, I mean, we all human. We all, then they got this color thing. And I mean, I just don't understand why we just don't find our purpose, live out our purpose, and we're going to help each other. We all going to win in life. That's what it's about, being to win, to live our full greatness in life until we leave this earth. We all have a reason for being here to help each other. Don't nobody want to be left on the side of the road or in the streets poor. When you got a little bit of change and you see somebody that's struggling, pay it forward. It's all about positivity. Why everybody want to live in negative, and that's what's going to make us grow and be rich in life. It ain't about money. It's about your heart and genuineness. And I don't know. I love what you're doing because I see your genuine heart and what you're trying to do out here, and it's just amazing. So I just wish more people would get on the same.
Now listen, what you're saying is true. I see, and one thing I want to give you your flowers because your support is tenacious. Like, I see your name a lot. And, to hear your voice today, I'm actually, I want to tell you thank you. And the reality of all things is, like, me personally, I want to see more people find they happy, right? Once you find you're happy,
Exactly.
another person come into your life, they're supposed to add the IER. But we look for people to make us happy. A person is not supposed to make you happy. You got to find your own happy.
You got to make yourself happy first, and then that's when you can really live in your true full self.
I agree 100%. 100%. That's what we need to do. We need to learn how to figure out and how to navigate life to be pursuing our better selves, because social media in this world nowadays, it tells us that you're not winning if you're not economically inclined. To be able to pay your bills
Exactly.
religiously, right? Your bills are being paid religiously, comfortably. I think you really kind of won, right? Because most people,
Yeah, exactly.
they complain about bills, but I think the worst person that can complain about bills is a person who genuinely can't afford his bills. Let me say that one more time. I think a person that
One
genuinely,
more time.
yes, the person that has a problem with crying about their bills is a person who genuinely can't afford their bills. See, people that can afford their bills, they get mad because they have to pay bills. But what about the person that really cannot afford their bills? But we make the same equivalence,
Exactly.
right? And that's wrong.
Exactly.
You
Yeah.
know? But
Exactly.
that's the world we live in. And it's the great pretenders, the year of the pretending, man. There's so much going on that's distracting us from becoming our greater selves.
But if they could put their energy on less on the making the illusion of making themselves look good, they could be out there making the world. I don't know. I just think it's selfishness.
It really is, though. It is.
Ain't living in their purpose, and they don't love themselves. So they're making an illusion that they do to perceive to other people. But where is it really getting them?
No, what you're saying is 100% facts. It's sad because when you sit back and evaluate it, it's like it's so frustrating because it's like genuinely I want to help other people's change their minds and grow and elevate. But you got so many trolls who can't see the bigger purpose because something like my confidence can make someone feel insecure because some people haven't met their confidence yet. So they'll get very insecure
Right.
based on my confidence. Right?
But you need to keep doing you because you found your purpose and you're doing great in it, and don't let them trolls come down or make you think less of yourself. That's what they want because they want to be where you're at.
I agree.
You found yourself, so you find your confidence. That ain't being selfish because you're out here. Look at you're on social media giving people gold nuggets, man. And if they really listen, then they could be doing the same type thing. But no, they're out here trying to bring you down. So you just need to let them haters keep hating.
I agree 100%, my sister.
They don't want to listen to you. They'd rather hate on you or try and bring you down. But if they use their energy that they're using to try and bring you down into themselves, then they could be right, coming up right below you, or if not, getting advice from you to come up and be just like you.
I agree 100%.
Why you ain't over here hating when you're not out here hating on nobody? You trying to bring them up like you taught yourself or what you learned to be a better man.
Yes.
So if they were putting the energy in from learning from you, then they could be right where you are.
100%.
If they believe in themselves, but they don't want to, they want to troll.
I agree.
So let them keep trolling, but you keep being you, man. You're doing great things, man, for real.
My sister, I appreciate you so much for this.
I appreciate you. Thank you very much.
Thank you too.
God bless.
God bless you too. When you have people like that, you need these affirmations. Miss E's a very advocate follower of the podcast. I see her name a lot. She shows a lot of love, and I want to give her flowers, right? Because this podcast is about all of us pursuing our better selves, right? And this is pretty much what me and my team came together to create this platform for. It wasn't about hurting women. It wasn't about dissing men. It wasn't about that. It's about uplifting and having people see that if your consciousness isn't raising from the conversations, then you're never going to raise your financial or your life situations. Because we get so caught up in the wrong things. But Miss E, she's faithfully watching the podcast and religiously. That's why when I get on this podcast, I tell people, some of the times black people make the problems about blacks, but there are a lot of whites that have very similar problems to blacks. But we always make things a black and white thing. There are a lot of white homes that don't have fathers. There are a lot of white homes that don't have economics, right? We could say projects, I could say trailer parks. Right? I've traveled out to the middle of America and I've seen how a lot of white people live also. They don't have the financial literacy as a lot of blacks also. And that's what we must acknowledge. We take the most elite whites and we make that the standard, and that's not reality. There are a lot of whites that's not doing well. There are a lot of whites who suffering from emotional trauma. There's a lot of whites who's actually been, you look at shelters right now, right? There are a lot of white in shelters. There are a lot of white people that's homeless. We can go all day. It's reality, but we always make things a color thing. That's why I said when I created this platform, I wanted to make sure it was colorless. And we talk about generically the problems because there's somebody right now, when you say black, 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 there's a white person sitting there like, I'm going through the same thing and I can't say nothing because I'm white. How unfair is that? There's a white person right now that's probably suffering from abandonment and you won't say it. The one thing I must acknowledge before I get out of here today is I did not know anxiety was real until I learned anxiety is real. Anxiety is very real. I seen someone have an anxiety attack the other day, and I was shocked because I used to say things like, that's fake. Right? I think we need to start learning about these real issues. Depression is real, right? This is real. Sometimes when people die, they say things like stress-related causes. We must acknowledge what is stress-related causes. Stress-related causes could be the fact that your bills is overbearing, the relationship is depressing. These things could affect your health, right? Arguing with your children every day. These things could make a body deteriorate and fall apart. We must acknowledge it. For my ladies on this podcast and my men that's on this podcast, let's learn how to love each other. And I want to say this, sisters, If God is your father and God is my father, that makes you my sister. Brothers, if God is your father and God is my father, that makes you my brother. We must learn how to love each other and stop hating on each other, right? The problem is we spend too much energy in pushing hate. And you're going to always get bad results as long as you keep pushing out hate. That's the reality of life. For those who want to follow more content, please check out the Don't Let That Go Over Your Head podcast on every major streaming platform. Follow, like, share, tell a friend to tell a friend. Nothing but positivity coming over here. We're not talking about no negativity. Ladies, if I said something to offend you and you heard it and you got offended by it, it's meant for you to be offended because it may be the truth. Men, if you heard something that bothered you, maybe it was something you needed to hear because maybe it was the truth. Sometimes we got to stop looking at the message, how the delivery comes, and start hearing the words. If we start hearing the words, we can start fixing ourselves. Till next time, guys, you already know. Don't let that go over your head.